you're below 40, don't be lazy. Now, if you are 40 and above, then you have to maximize your time. Time is of the essence to reach your financial goals. Work on to achieve your 8 financial must-haves while you still have time. Remember, chirping, credit, house, insurance and mortgage, retirement fund, positive cash flow, passive income, net worth, and bucket.
Assalamualaikum friends, and welcome to my vlog. We are here at the iconic Olaya Street in front of the magnificent Kingdom Tower. We are currently inside the Adu Al-Masaak Cafe. It is the largest coffee shop in the world, as given by the Guinness World Records in 2014. The vlog for tonight will be different. We'll be having a special guest who will give us financial tips.
Ready na kayo for your order, guys?
Yung ano, salted or latte? Thank you, thank you.
Our special guest is a master of business administration, an accountant, and a financial analyst of a renowned company here in Saudi Arabia. Let's welcome our good friend, Rogie Wenceslao Jr.
The topic is about financial tips when you reach 40. They say that life begins at 40. It's the best time to know how far you have been into your financial goals, or how close, or how are you doing in terms of financials. Some are financially lost, while others are getting there. The source of this material is coming from one of the financial guru that we have in the Philippines. His name is Vincent Rapisura. He's an authority in personal financial management. Vince was mentioning about 8 financial tips when you reach 40. Similar to when we have our physical examination, like health, we go to the doctor, right? And then they would give us the status of our levels in sugar, cholesterol. So it's the same token, but this one is on the financial aspects of one's life. I group the financial tips into a mnemonic, like chirping B. Letter C, credit. At this age, when you are 40, there should be no more consumer debt. At this age, we should have fully settled our credit card, on or before the due date comes. That's letter C, chirping B, like a chirping bird, right?
Okay.
So when you have freedom, you're like a happy bird, chirping. Age pertains to house. At this age, of course, we are here in Saudi Arabia, but the house that they refer to is our property in the Philippines. We should have our own house already, like no more renting. Mid-30s actually is the ideal age to get your housing loan. As OFW, we are complying with the Pag-ibig. You could have availed of that when you were 30. Now, the value of the house is, you can measure it in terms of your income. Like, you and your partner's income combined for 3 years. So if the combined income of you and your partner is, let's say, 100,000, the value of the house that you should get should not exceed at least 3.6 million. Like when we talk of sugar level, this one in terms of the housing value, you should have at least 3 years worth of you and your partners. For I, this stands for insurance and the emergency fund. Because of the pandemic, we used to have like 3 months worth of emergency fund. But when we experience pandemic, we realize that it's not enough. That if you are unemployed for a couple of months, it's really a must for us to have our insurance and emergency fund. Right now, they are suggesting the financial guru to have at least 9 months worth of emergency fund. 9 months of what? Of your monthly expenses. If your monthly expenses, let's say, is 50,000 a month, these expenses could be your food, school fees, or what. 50,000 times 9 months would mean an emergency fund of 450,000. Should be at least 9 months. Why? If we are unemployed for the next 3, 6, 9 months, our expenses are covered by our emergency fund. If you have investments, you should not use your investment to cover for your emergency funds. Let's say you lose your job. There was this pandemic. There's no income. You cannot say expenses will stop. You will not stop eating. You still continue eating. You will still have some expenses along the way, bills to pay, etc. And it's important for you to have that buffer. Like if you're not able to earn, you have your emergency fund where you can pull out your money. Now, in terms of the I, which is the insurance, especially for us expatriates, we are breadwinners. We have our loved ones, our dependents. We have to give them some sort of, in terms of the insurance, like if we will pass away, God forbid, then our dependents will not find it too difficult to start again without us. The insurance is there to cover for you who knows how many years worth of income. Let's say 50,000 worth of expenses a month, and then you have your insurance, let's say 9 million, that will last you for your dependents for a couple of years. And it will not be too difficult for them, losing you physically, but financially you're still there somehow, giving them your loans through financial needs. Also, when you have a chronic disease, we all know the story of our neighbor who got cancer, and then all of their properties were sold because they were not properly covered by the insurance. And that one also will cover the contingency in terms of your health. That's one important aspect. When you reach the age of 40, you should have, besides the credit, besides the house, you should have adequate emergency fund, which is 9 months, and adequate health insurance and life insurance. Next, Chirpin B, letter R, is retirement fund. Now, you're familiar with SSS, but are you actually remitting for the funds? When you're 40, ideally, you should have already at least 120 monthly contribution. Ideally, like 120 would mean 10 years. But the ideal time is if you start already working, let's say at the age of 20, the ideal is 240. 20 times 12. 240 months. But for those who are not comfortable with SSS, some of us would put our money. Now, the popular thing is MP2. Pag-ibig, it's earning a range of 5 to 7% dividend. Or for others, through real estate, they build their retirement funds by investing in houses, in apartments, in condo units, so that when they go back home, they still have some money or pension through the rental that they will earn. The first P in the Chirpin B stands for positive cash flow. 40 years old or the middle-aged adult have financial responsibilities if they have kids or if they are the breadwinner. And this particular financial tip means you have to ensure that your active income, your income when you are employed, you're exerting efforts, should be higher than your expenses. Either you have to look for an extra income or reduce your expenses. Then we move to another P, which I call PI, but this is passive income. At 40, you should be able to have at least 20% of your passive income already covering your expenses. So at this age, it is assumed that you should already have some sort of a passive income that will cover 20% of your expenses. Let's say if you are having 50,000 as your monthly expenses, 40% at the age of 40, you should have 40 times 50, that's 20,000 covering your monthly expenses. That's the ideal picture. Like, if you started investing already and earning passive income, 40% of your expenses is covered by the earnings that you have. Well, if we're late already at this age, then it means we have to rethink and reflect of our financial situation. So what are the examples of passive income? We have dividends, rents, capital gains, royalties, interest, pension. You're familiar with dividends, right? It's like the company sharing the profit to the stockholders. So for example,
Stocks.
yes, Jollibee declares a dividend, you have a share in the rent. If you have apartments or condo units, that's basically passive. In my case, I'm also into real estate. I don't have too much expenses also. I think my passive income already is somehow aligned to my monthly expenses. Now, Chirpin D, letter N. At the age of 40, you should know your net worth already. For those who are familiar with SALN, Statement of Asset, Liabilities, and Net worth means how much asset you have, how much liabilities, the difference, that's your net worth. So for example, if you bought a house for 3 million cash, your net worth is 3 million because that's more or less the value of the asset. Of course, it will go high, but just for the purpose of illustrating net worth. So if you don't owe anyone on the house, net worth is 3 million. Now, if you borrowed money from the bank, meaning you have a mortgage loan, net worth would mean how much is left on the value of the asset minus the obligation you have. So just a simple example, if you have 3 million and you borrowed 2.4 million, your net worth is not 3 million, it's 600,000. Now, at this age, how much net worth you should have? Well, Financial Guru said 3 years or 36 months of your income is your ideal net worth. So if your income is, let's say, 50,000, net worth is 50,000 times 36 months. If I'm going to look on your SALN, I should be seeing this figure of 1.8 million more or less. Did you get the picture? And finally, Chirpin B. B is actually my favorite. It's the bucket list fund. The bucket list fund is like you motivate yourself because you work hard. You want to have a traveling fund. You can use that. You have to have, like, let's say, luxury fund. Let's say you want to buy yourself some nice goods or items. That's the bucket list. Now, how do we put a structure to our bucket list fund? So let's say, in terms of our budgeting, 5% should go to your insurance, 15% should go to your savings, 20% goes to your debt, and 60% goes to your expenses. That's the 5, 15, 20, 60 budgeting when it comes to managing our fund. So let's say if you have 50,000 a month, insurance should be roughly 2,500, which is 5% of 50. Now, if your savings is 15%, that would mean out of 50,000, you should save around 7,500. If your debt or obligations is 20%, 50,000, the max out of 50, you should spend only up to 30,000 for your expenses. What did we learn from this chirping bee? Build first, to jumpstart, build first your emergency fund for 9 months. Which is, let's say, if your monthly expenses is 30,000, out of that 50, emergency fund would mean 9 months of 30 or 270,000. That's just an example. Let your bucket list motivate you and invest further. Let's have a quick recap. If you're below 40, don't be lazy. Work on to achieve your 8 financial must-haves while you still have time. Now, if you are 40 and above, then you have to maximize your time. Time is of the essence to reach your financial goals. Remember, chirping me. Credit, house, insurance and emergency, retirement fund, positive cash flow, passive income, net worth, and bucket list.